Thanks for having me up here.
Thank you for coming by. It's great that you came all the way up from Laguna Beach.
Yeah, not a bad drive, man.
That's like the nicest part of Southern California. I think you figured it out.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Being in the city where I am is quite good if you've got to like meet people every day, which is what we do. And this is why I set the studio up here anyways, because everyone comes into the city once or twice a week for something. But if you got to just like be somewhere near the water, near the mountains, a little bit away from the traffic and the chaos, I think Laguna Beach is where it's at.
The place. It's protected by Crystal Cove State Park, right? You can mountain bike.
Yeah. And running is a big passion of yours? Yeah. And how long have you been triathloning?
Since first triathlon was in undergrad, I'd say 2008, 2009.
Huh?
When they write your race number on your arm, my mother decided to come see it. She's like, "Did you get a tattoo? What are you wearing? Can you wear those shorts in public?" True state. That's what she says. She gets off third shift.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Still got race numbers on my arm. I did a triathlon yesterday.
Okay. How many are you running a month?
I'm not racing near as much as I did. I was like on the traveling circuit, racing elite from 2011 to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And now if there's a race nearby, I'll do it. But I'm not putting them really far.
So here's my claim to fame, and this is what I know about triathlons. Okay, my dad did them when I was a kid, but I don't remember shit because I was young. But then I got this photography job to go to the Philippines once, and it was a training camp in a place called Subic Bay in the Philippines, where all these elite triathletes would go to train just for the Ironman in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Because Philippines and Hawaii has a similar humid climate. And if you're not training in that humidity, it's very hard to compete at a high level in that humidity in Hawaii for the Ironman, which is pretty much the only money prize of the whole year of the trial. So this guy, this coach, he had 10 or 12 of the most ridiculously fit people on the planet in this little village in the Philippines, all just training for the Ironman in Hawaii.
Can I guess a name?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it was Brett Sutton. Yeah, Chrissy was there. Was that your era?
I was not a part of Brett Sutton's group, but I was in that era then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. They would run a marathon a day at the end of the day as a cool down.
And he made them train their wetsuits sometimes. You know,
he did, yeah.
He was a horse. Not to go too far, but he was a horse trainer.
Yeah.
So he applied the same horse racing principles to humans. Either you made it or you didn't.
Yeah.
Like you got broken.
Do you know TJ Murphy? He was the writer or editor in chief of Triathlon magazine.
Okay.
Anyways, he went to the Philippines with me. He wrote the story. I did the shooting, but he's fucking hilarious. So we had an amazing time with Brett and all these incredible athletes.
Brett the Doc Sutton.
Yeah, crazy Australian. So look, you've got some incredible stories, but let's take it back a bit and just start at the beginning. So where are you from?
A little town called Waterloo, South Carolina. Population 164.
163 now that you're on the West Coast.
Now it's down in the last census to 147. So if you're looking to start a family, our school system needs kids. Move.
Yeah. And there's only one stoplight and no traffic.
There's no stoplights.
Oh, wow.
No traffic.
That's amazing. So what's it like? Like I grew up kind of in and around Toronto, Canada, big city. My whole life was kind of absorbed by city life. But what was it like growing up in a small town with only 160 some odd people?
You don't even realize it's a town, really. Like the town is technically 7 miles away from where I grew up. My aunt lived beside us. My grandma lived across the street. There's a produce farm behind us. That's what you know.
Yeah.
You know your little spot. And then we had a neighbor. He moved in. He liked to skateboard. I like to play basketball. The only piece of concrete was in our driveway. So he would come up there and skateboard. And I would shoot basketball and blame him when I missed a shot when he fell off his skateboard. Robbie, stop.
And that's all there was, and that's all that you need.
Yeah.
I mean, was there any organized sports?
Yeah, we did. Luckily, because it's the South, like football's huge. I mean, that was
American football.
American.
I'm just watching Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. Have you seen this? The Ryan Reynolds, Ryan McElhenney. Yeah.
I went to grad school.
Okay.
But that was a lot of different.
I highly recommend that show because it's fantastic. It's like, small town living, but in Wales, and
Okay.
it's lovely. But yes, so the South, American football.
And Jerry Butler, who was a famous NFL wide receiver, came from our school, and it was just expected. Like, we won region championship like 7 years in a row. So it's expected you win the region. But our school came from 3 different counties.
Oh, because there weren't enough kids to fill one school.
Enough kids. So they pulled from Abbeville County, Greenwood County.
Just all the jocks, though.
Yeah, they were select. I was outside of the district technically in Lawrence, but I got...
Yeah. Just made a little note on your address there.
I think they made you try out first. Yeah. Not like, all right, you're good.
We'll get you into this school no matter what.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's it like growing up playing American football in the South? Because I think you're the first person I've talked to who's played any American football at all.
So more like the guys, they say religion. I mean, everything revolves around that Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
We had, there's Hollywood. I was actually just back in my school 2 months ago, talking to the district on day 1 coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because George Clooney, you see in the movie Leatherheads?
I have seen the movie Leatherheads, yes.
It's filmed at our high school.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They've found your small high school.
They found our school because it was part of a textile. So the only reason the school's there was a big textile mill built in 1926. School's still standing, wood floors. It has a field house with stone and bars like you'd see in a prison. It looks like a prison. He's running away from it, but they filmed that there.
Oh, wow.
And it's an old school clock at the top that tells the time, like not a digital clock, but an analog clock.
Back to the Future style.
It's cool. It's just tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you miss that, coming out to LA and living this life?
I never forget where I'm from. No, it's wonderful when you go back here shopping at Piggly Wiggly. There's no Whole Foods around. And I think it's very grounding, like to appreciate your roots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if LA back to where Shoals works is good and Waterloo. Mm-hmm. That's a hard transition. Maybe if you were born in Laguna and you have an e-bike or something at the age of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like we had to pedal. What's this?
Yeah.
In shape.
7 miles to the nearest town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Did you have to walk to school?
I did not.
No.
I got dropped off.
Okay.
Yeah, because the bus did not run. I was outside the district.
Right, because I was in the school district. I had a bus. I would go outside, and the bus would come pick me up every morning at a certain time. Mom would be there making sure I was there. But if you're outside the school district, you're fucked.
You are.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But space, the cool thing is there's acreage and space back.
And nothing. Not in Beverly Hills or West Hollywood either. No space. So, I mean, what's the flora and fauna? Do you have like apple trees or like what's growing all around you out there? Peaches, right? South Carolina
makes better peaches than Georgia.
Okay.
On record. House of Cards, the show, they have that big peach that they showed.
You're right.
It's in Gaffney, not far away.
Right. Oh, that was the district of Frank Underwood's character, the vice president, and then eventually the president. Yeah. That's amazing. So that's your whole neighborhood.
That was a big city, though, man. Gaffney had the outlet malls. You wanted a polo shirt back in the day, Ralph Lauren, you went to the outlet mall. It didn't matter if it was last
year. Right. But it's on sale always.
Yeah. That's right. That's the only way you get them, man.
So okay. So in high school, you're playing American football. Were you any good at it? What position did you play?
Yeah. I was captain of the football team, as corny as that sounds, and the captain of the basketball team. I was outside linebacker, and I played both ways. There was 3 of us that actually went on offense.
And valedictorian and prom king?
No, the latter one, yeah. I was prom prince, and then we elected prom king to Josh Babb, who was like the spirit animal of the football team that never played.
Yeah.
So we made a motion to elect him prom king.
Oh, that's nice.
It was
But you were the de facto prom king?
I was the president of the student body. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's not that hard when there's 100 people in your class.
Yeah. That's wild, though. Captain of the football team, captain of the basketball team, student council president, 100 people in your class. Yeah. You own that town.
Yeah. Yeah. They have so the company that I have now, Suitcase of Courage, the football team actually, we still stay in contact with them. They have helmet stickers with a little suitcase on it with courage.
Oh, nice.
That is everything to me. This is the first year they've done that, but they were like, we believe in like the Suitcase of Courage, digging in deep, and they put helmet stickers.
Well, we got to get into your whole Suitcase of Courage business.
That fired me up. I mean, once you get a Suitcase of Courage helmet sticker, from there, well, that's it.
Yeah.
You need it.
You're there. You're part of an elite group.
Yeah.
You got to get them on Inter Miami's boots. Get messy branding along with that. So okay. So you're basically running your small town from high school. Well, what happened after high school?
Well, in high school, I was going to UNLV. I got accepted in UNLV. Made a couple visits out there
To play?
to play.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
That's no joke.
big transition, and it was announced like I'm going to University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Well, I've always been a businessman, right? And I'll just tell you straight. I picked blackberries when I was younger and sold them at church for $8 a gallon. Then washed cars. Started cutting grass. Then I started throwing field parties.
Okay.
We sold $7 cups
Mm-hmm.
of stuff that you shouldn't drink till you're 21,
Mm-hmm.
and that became a profitable enterprise.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the schools started coming.
Okay.
So we had like 200 people at these parties. Cops didn't like that. Somebody forgot to close the gate in the backfield, and then Cameron had to do community service.
Oh wow, you got it nailed, huh? Yeah. But people need, I don't know, like I feel like if it's in a safe enough environment, you just got to let kids get it out of their system, because I feel like when you hold back on all this stuff until the age of 21, like it's just too much of a buildup, and then it gets abused, and then kids just abuse alcohol in their 20s. Like a lot of my friends grew up in Europe, and they're drinking at like 10 with their kids, with their parents at dinner, right? And there's no stigma around it, and there's no bullshit around it. It's just like when you're with your parents, you can have a drink, right? And then by the time you're 18, 21, you don't go fucking mental because you can have a drink.
Correct. And then two, one thing is we were safe. Like the field was down there.
Mm-hmm.
It was cut out. So you couldn't, I had a grass cutting business, so I'd keep it cut. Everybody could park and stay.
Yeah.
And that was the goal.
Right. Because you don't want people drunk driving.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can just camp out. Old school camp out. Everybody had trucks, bring your sleeping bag, whatever. But someone forgot to close the gate. And the one guy's girlfriend, she cheated on him with another guy. He had a firearm and then shot in the air. And then that's how the cops got caught.
It's always the guy who brings the firearm to a party.
Charles Craighead was his name. I'll never forget. Charles Craighead, if you're listening, you ruined it for everyone.
So, what was it like kind of not being able to go to UNLV? Did it get postponed a year? Or did you get dropped entirely?
Yeah, I think the best thing that happened, and my father was like, Cameron, I was a little more, like, I was like, hey, I was into the social scene a lot more. UNLV, I wouldn't have started or played anything till the third, fourth year at best.
Mm-hmm.
I kept my grades up because my father was like, hey, you can play football with C's and basketball, but you need to have A's and B's for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, stay in state. And I had my grades good. I actually got a scholarship at a school less than an hour away.
Oh, so
great.
So you stayed in South Carolina?
I stayed.
And you got a scholarship just on your brain?
That's it.
And did you play football?
I did not. They didn't even have a football team.
Oh, man.
But that school turned out great. My father also made a great move. I give him credit for this. I got an old Land Rover Discovery. Still have.
Amazing. I love those cars.
03. 03.
Yeah.
And he said, we'll get you this car. And it was the most expensive car my dad had ever even bought himself, because he knew that the scholarship in state would pay for itself.
Right.
And I really wanted a car. So he was like, hey, and my mom had to convince him a little bit too, right? We'll get you this, but I still have this car this day, 250,000 miles. And he said to me, he's like, Cameron, if you take care of your car, it'll take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that translates into so much more.
Deep stuff from that. I love the Land Rover Discovery though, because it's so boxy, but it doesn't stop. Like it can just go through anything. So I did a TV show many years ago called Tough Rides Brazil, where I rode a motorcycle all around Brazil, and half of it we were in the Amazon, right? So we're fighting with the mud every day, and the show was sponsored by BMW, so they gave me a bike, and then BMW were like, yeah, we need to give you a car also, so you're gonna have a BMW SUV and a BMW motorcycle. Sounds like a great deal, right? But then I started sending the BMW people the videos of people going through the Amazonian mud.
Yeah.
And they were on just like souped up SUVs, and we're just like, wow, the BMW like X3 or X whatever is not going to cut it, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up having to buy a Land Rover Defender.
An old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fixing it up and taking it on the trip, and it actually made it all the way around Brazil and just crushed. I mean, it broke down a few times, but we were lucky. Like that thing is a beast.
It's a beast.
Yeah.
It's only not been to Florida, Alaska, and Hawaii.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And I have all the extra hoses, all the extra fluid.
Does it have a winch on the front?
It does not. It does not. It's sad, but I am protective of it enough where I go, where I don't want to just absolutely destroy it. But if I want to go to the mountains, like one time I was on a ski, I was climbing Mount St. Helens up to the wheel well in snow. Good to go. It just handles it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. You still got it.
I still have it.
How do you get a vehicle out to Hawaii? You just ship it, or is there some kind of ferry?
I think you just rent it. It's not been there.
Oh,
it's only not been to Alaska, Hawaii, and Florida.
Only not been.
That's it. Okay. That's the only 3 states. It's been up through Canada. Like I built a little cabin behind after grad school I worked. I made a little cabin of courage. We pulled it like some gypsies. Went up to Lillooet ice climbing.
Just the best.
It's just the best.
It's nice when you have a car that's as tough as you are. Like you can just fucking take it anywhere.
For sure. Well, the best compliment, I kid you not, that I think I've ever got was I was coming down from climbing Mount Hood, which is like just the highest point in Oregon, but a great climb. And I go, and Oregon, I used to change my own oil and they have those hardcore rules. Probably California does, you know?
I don't own a car. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you got to dispose of the oil on the right, you know? You can't take it yourself. They don't trust you to take it to the dump. So I get to this place, and I got like a cut on my arm. I'm bleeding. I'm still in mountaineering boots and gaiters, and like ice is breaking off of the car and melting. He's like, dude, you're the first person to come in here with a Land Rover. Looks like you should be driving a Land Rover. I made it.
That's the most epic compliment of all time. Yeah. You're the first guy to come in here. You're not a soccer mom or a soccer dad, right? You're the first fucking pure adventure to come here with a Defender who looks like he should be driving a Defender.
I felt right about my life after that. Even if it came from a 30-year-old dude working at Jiffy Lube at the time. Like, whatever. Thank you.
That's epic. That's epic. Okay, so you stay in state, you get a scholarship.
Yep.
You graduate.
Yep.
Were you upset that you missed out on your football career?
Best thing that happened was transition.
Really? It's tough.
With football,
yeah.
You know?
And it's tough though.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been at best football, walk on somewhere close by in basketball. I love basketball just as much, but we didn't get recruited the same type deal. Because it's a smaller school. Everybody's like, oh, that's just small ball, like small 1A, 2A ball. But it's not like 4 or 5A where you have everybody.
Yeah.
But Lander, that's how I got in. I bought a bike because the gas at that time, 2006, 2007, was really high.
Yeah.
So this Land Rover looked great to drive to the beach and stuff, but you had to get everybody to pitch in.
Yeah. It's a gas guzzler. Is yours diesel?
It's not.
Oh, I had a diesel one in Brazil. Yeah. Bit cheaper, but
what year did you have? Was it Defender? You know, it was like a 90 or something.
I'll show you a picture after it, but I think it was like an 04, 05, 06. It was blue, and then I bought it. So I tried to rent it from the guy, and he's like, "You're gonna go where?" And he's like, "Fuck that! You're gonna have to buy this." So we ended up buying it.
Amazon, like, I'll bring it back.
Yeah. The bike was destroyed, but the car, yeah. So we had to buy it. And then what happened was we had to fix it up afterwards, and then we sold it on the market. But the whole thing took like way too long. But that was the only way we could really make it happen, because it's so hard when you have to like parachute into a country and try to do something cool and fucked up and amazing. And then like, okay, am I renting shit? Am I buying shit? What's the budget? You know, and everything gets trashed. Yeah. Like, 60 days around Brazil, half the time stuck in knee-deep mud in the Amazon. Just brutal. So we ended up having to buy it, but I wish I could have brought it back.
Yeah. And American Highway. Yeah. Darien Gap.
At that time, I was living in China. At that time, 2015, I did 18 years in Shanghai. So getting it back to China would have been a bit of a bitch. If I lived here, maybe I would have thought twice about it, but getting it back to Shanghai now. No. So how is it that giving up your football dreams was the best thing that ever happened to you? Because I played basketball from the age of like 6 to the age of 22.
Yeah.
Played, at the University of Toronto. Absolutely loved it. But I went through like massive depression and withdrawal when I couldn't play anymore because I wasn't good enough to play pro.
Right.
And I wasn't good enough to play for the national team. And then I just kind of had to like stop playing. But it was such a huge part of my life. Like, what were you thinking at like, and you were younger, you were 4 years younger and having to give up on that.
I think having the experience of team sports all my life from 4 and so forth, near the end, I was almost tired of the sport itself, right? I was always more passionate about basketball, I'd say, but because we're a football school, that's what got attention. Then I transitioned. I was like, you have to fill this time with something. So I just started going to the weight room more, like just became dedicated to, I have that personality where I'm like, talk to adventure. You're the same way. We're going to get it done. So I just became like at the YMCA all my free time, lifting and getting in shape. And then I bought this bike, and everybody at the Y, the triathlons were booming. So I needed a community to get in with. And then there was a couple elder like doctors by 10, 15 years. They taught me how to swim. There was always somebody to bike with or run with.
That's amazing. I mean, for you to, but I mean, at least you had the weights and like at least a path into something else, right? I mean, that's the key. Like you weren't just kind of floating around doing nothing.
Yeah. The power from squats and football translated so well into biking. So it was easy. Like biking's not hard. Like
I do find it ridiculous though that you got a scholarship to UNLV and then it was just like, well, that's not going to work out. And then you just decided to put all of your athletic pursuits into something else entirely.
Yeah. Something we didn't even have a cross country team in high school. I didn't run.
Yeah.
It was foreign to me. So it was like, okay, when I was at the YMCA, once I transitioned to college in personal training,
right?
Then I went to the YMCA, and one of the trainers was a great runner at the local school, Greenwood High, which did have a great cross-country team. I was like, dude, running's easy. That's what I said. That was dumb. So I challenged him to my workouts, which were all weight workouts. But on the last day, we're doing his workouts. I don't even have running shoes this time.
Right.
I have Michael Jordan basketball shoes.
As you should.
Jordan basketball shoes, long Jordan short. I did not crush this guy, but I then accepted that running is actually really challenging. Because the last workout, some people do a 5K first. I did one 5K.
Yeah.
Things like we're running 20 miles. 20 miles with no nutrition in the summer heat with like a cutoff, cotton shirt, Jordan's, long basketball shorts. Skipped class, ran home with no sidewalks, whatever it may be.
Right.
And then we go and buy our first running shoes later that day. My mom picks us up after going through a thing of Fruit Loops. We got home, Fruit Loops around the kitchen.
So you were not prepared at all for transitioning into the running world?
Nothing. I mean, just jumped in like over the top, straight in.
But what is it that turned you onto that space?
It's hard.
It's really fucking hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially from having a background where you just lift and you're a bigger body type.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Because you got to cut all that bulk off.
Yeah. And it never comes off. You can run. It's just there.
Yeah. But you got to carry it, though. Oh, man. Okay, so you're in university. You're running. I mean, you're getting good grades. Like, when did this entrepreneurial spirit kick in?
It's been on my whole life. I mean, from picking the blackberries to when I was in high school, I had that landscaping company, which is grass cutting. All right. And then I earned enough money to buy a trailer and then a 50-inch deck Cub Cadet, which is big.
Yeah. That's the real deal.
It's real, not no Craftsman 42-inch deck. And then I continued personal training throughout college. That became cool. And then I started doing coaching for triathlon when I got a first sponsor, Coach Katouf and Team Katouf, which was actually connected to Chris Carmichael and Lance Armstrong's coach. Like, amazing athlete, won a national championship. I got a sponsorship through him and then won a national championship in triathlon or duathlon, and then finished first in triathlon in Texas for Division II all across the nation and second fastest bike split.
So this is what you were doing in South Carolina?
This is what I was doing within the first 3 years of triathlon.
Yeah. I just got hooked.
All
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how amazing was that to finish first?
It was great. They made an announcement at the university. They recognized it. The university, Lander University, actually became a sponsor.
Oh.
And they paid because you can receive money. I wasn't an NCAA sport. Now it is. So I could receive money and get paid in college before.
Oh, wow. The NIL deals are crazy, aren't they? Someone was saying that Caitlin Clark, the famous female basketball player in the WNBA, she was making more money in college with the NIL deals than she got paid in her first year of basketball without the Nike deal. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. And Charles Barkley was commenting. He's like, she just stayed in college for another 2 years. She would have made a killing until like at least the NBA salaries or WNBA salaries rise up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't blame her one bit. The strength coach for Caitlin Clark came from my high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bill Maxwell.
Nice.
He coached Paul Pierce at Kansas.
I remember Paul Pierce. Yeah, he played for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. And that's Bill Maxwell from a little town, and he went and played football at East Carolina. So we got a small town, but not a small opportunity. All right?
South Carolina for you.
Move there.
So what was it like now transitioning all of your sporting prowess into triathlon? Because, I mean, what position do you play in?
Outside linebacker and tight end.
So you're hitting people all the time.
That's right.
And in triathlon, you're not hitting anyone.
Unfortunately.
How'd you reckon that?
I had a couple contacts once. I did a race in Venezuela one time when Hugo Chavez was in.
Mm-hmm.
You ever go down there?
I have not been to Venezuela yet.
College. This scar.
Yeah.
And on my leg.
Yeah.
2 contacts in one race. 2 bike wrecks.
Really?
Half legal race. We all go down. This Colombian guy hits tires in front.
Mm-hmm.
Teeth. Oh, like something off American History X, like curved.
Oh,
out.
That was a great movie.
But he gets thrown and he's just like,
yeah,
bleeding. I get back on the bike, pedal, and it's in San Cristobal, which is like near the Colombian border, the mountains. $10,000 prize money. Olympians are in it. I'm the only American with a new sponsor. I met Miss Venezuela in the press conference before.
What was that like? Yeah.
No. Then they had power shut off, so the whole thing was dark in there. That was on Venezuelan TV. It was great.
You had at least that one moment. What's it like traveling around the world racing in triathlons?
I mean, you're just thrown into it. I was 20. I don't even know if I was 21. Yeah. And I'm in Venezuela by myself. And they give you like 5 days notice. Like, oh, here's a race. Do you want to go? Yeah, I just got my wisdom teeth removed. Hope I don't get a dry socket. I'm racing.
I mean, but it's so much less organized than like a football season.
Dude, there's nothing organized.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's just chaos.
Yeah.
I borrowed a bike in Venezuela.
You borrowed someone's bike in
Venezuela.
Just to ride, just to participate.
Just to have the race. I knew a guy that used to be in Hilton Head. He's like, oh, we're roughly the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And the ticket was out of Atlanta. This is how much sense they made. This is how budget it was.
Yeah.
I had to go Atlanta to Miami. Miami back to Atlanta because the way the ticket was bought. Atlanta to Caracas.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was the way the ticket was.
Makes no sense.
And I thought during that time, I mean, they would always, you travel. You're going to lose it's much better now. But 10 years ago, the luggage just went.
Yeah.
Like bikes. Oh, they don't go on the plane. What are you talking about? We'll get to that.
I remember I flew from Shanghai, China to Toronto for my brother's wedding.
Yeah.
And they lost my bag. I had to go out and like buy a suit off the rack like the next morning just to get through the wedding.
You just knew, like on longer haul flights with connections, it's not going to come.
No. That's the worst.
Yeah.
But I mean, your bike or your running shoes, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I didn't want to ship my bike because I was like, it's going to get to Venezuela when I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a one-way trip. And then someone at that time, because our relations really weren't good in 2011.
They're still not.
They're not ideal. I'm like, it's going to sit. So I made the executive call, John Ruiz. I'm like, can I borrow your bike? I didn't know I was going to wreck his bike.
But were you loving the triathlons, or was it an outlet for your energy, or because there's no money in it, right?
I mean, there was like rent was super low in South Carolina. So if you won money, it was something to be like massively proud of.
Yeah.
But I was not Chrissy Wellington or nowhere near that. That's where the money was from 1 or 2 races.
She's a beast though. Like she's like our height, you know that? Like because I was with her for like more than a week.
Right.
And she was the elite one that everyone was paying a lot of attention to at that time. But she's like 6'2",
yeah.
like 160, 80 pounds. Yeah, and just all muscle.
Yeah.
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 It's insane how like strong she was.
Yeah. Chris McCormick was big in that, but you just knew the top echelon, like pro.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't me.
Okay.
I could bike it, but I didn't have the years of history of swimming.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, Lauren Goss, she did 226 in a marathon, and she won Escape Alcatraz 6 times. That is on record for me the best triathlete of South Carolina. She lives in Boulder now.
Okay.
She can compete against like a Chrissy Wellington type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not an Ironman, but she has that speed.
Mm-hmm.
But you just kind of know.
But you're bringing the enthusiasm.
Dude, I didn't fit. I had 2 bike breaks in that race. Chainring goes through my leg. I got pictures of all this. White fatty tissue coming out of my leg.
Yeah.
I stand back up in a second. My face is bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
They start, because I knew it was from the race.
Mm-hmm.
They start, maybe the second best compliment I've gotten. They said Rocky, because I was the only one with a USA flag.
Nice.
And I finished the 10K and then went to the hospital and got like 60-something stitches.
Jesus. How do you finish a race bleeding that much?
Adrenaline.
But doesn't it pump the blood out faster?
No, it's insane. I was taking pictures after with people, and like grandma in Venezuela, I got my arm around them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the blood that's all over. You know, I looked at cramps.
But but I mean, like, you get back on the bike or you have to run, right? Like, like how do you run with an open wound? Like, it's just got to be pouring out of you. There's some guy on the sideline with like some hot piece of metal just to like.
No, it was just pouring out. You got to see these photos. So it was in town. They actually had 2 motorcycle cops when I was running near me, because I guess they thought I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
I had so many cuts. I mean, it was just.
And now triathlon is an actual NCAA sport.
That's correct. Yeah, scholarship sport as of 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you were part of like the groundswell of that
club. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? I mean, now that it's kind of become a little bit more high profile, do you kind of like the fact that you were at the grassroots of that movement?
For sure.
Yeah.
Now it's all based, which is great, the science of it. Like going back to Brett the Doc Sutton, he didn't train that much with power. He just went old school. Like, can you handle this training, absorb it?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's very methodical, like pricking your finger to see your blood lactate, versus we were just like, let's see what we can handle.
Yeah.
Recover.
Yeah, Brett's whole thing was really mental. Like, he's like, who's tired? All right, if you're tired, you're running. Like, just right up to the wall and then break through and keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would destroy some athletes, or the ones that didn't, they make them champion.
Rise to the top.
That's right.
So I mean, when did you leave South Carolina? Like, when was that journey?
South Carolina, I went to grad school in England, Winchester University.
What'd you study?
South of business. I did my master's in business.
Nice.
Yeah.
From UNLV to fucking the UK, just on a random, because of a gunshot and a cheated boyfriend gun.
Oh my gosh.
The story sounds more funny by the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't fly till I went to Las Vegas. I mean, I come from a small town. My first flight was to go visit Vegas. So it's not, and then I think maybe the second flight was truly
to Venezuela.
Because I was undergrad. Yeah. And then I think in races, maybe Venezuela was definitely one of the first 5 flights.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Life is good. I mean, did you like England?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a study abroad. So actually I did fly before Venezuela to England. Mm-hmm. And I dated a Brazilian tennis player.
Okay.
That helped see the world.
Yeah.
Because I went to Brazil with her. Now so I did go to Brazil, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. Sao Paulo or Rio?
Sao Paulo.
Okay.
Ubatuba.
Ubatuba?
Yeah, you been down there?
I haven't been down there.
Surf.
Oh, is that near Florianopolis?
No, it's further up. Like, I think kind of towards Rio, in between Sao Paulo.
Okay. That's a beautiful area.
This year.
Oh, this year you were there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Second time back.
So it's like, what was it like living in England dating a Brazilian tennis player?
Well, we broke up then.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I got to experience Brazil. When I was in England, I was dating a triathlete, and then I had a sponsor, so I would go race all over Europe.
Oh.
So that was a great way to see Europe.
Are there a lot of triathlons in Europe?
Ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mallorca has a big one, then down Tenerife, Lanzarote, England. You can just take a train, you know how it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, okay, so let's assume you're like peak fitness. You're like 20. How many triathlons, how many competitions can you really do in a month without completely destroying your body?
This is no joke. I would race. So when I was still at university and I was still cutting grass, running the landscaping thing, I would race a triathlon on Saturday morning regionally, go cut grass. After racing a triathlon, be out in the heat, and then go race another race on Sunday. I would stack them.
Really? 2 races a weekend?
Plus being outside, like running like a weed trimmer, weed eater. and just getting I think that builds up so much endurance over time.
Just suffering in the sunlight.
Just building up your tolerance.
For shit.
Long base fitness. Like when you go through the Amazon or climbing a mountain or trekking, it's easy because you've done all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I think like some people are really good at like just turning their brain off.
Yeah.
And just putting one step in front of the other. And I figured out like that was my strength. I figured this out. I think I figured it out in college because I feel like the transition from from high school basketball to college basketball was a big one.
Yeah.
And I figured like, you know, because in high school, everyone's a superstar, right? And then you get to college and it's like, am I going to be a superstar? Am I going to be a bench player? And then I had difficulty kind of transitioning. And then I just decided like, I'm just going to fucking grind it. Like every game, every practice forever.
Yeah.
And I just figured out how to like turn off the brain and just grind for 3 hours until practice was done or until the game was done.
Yep.
And it was amazing what you can do when you just stop thinking. Yeah. And that's the best.
Blank space. I completely agree. It's like a void. It's a void.
Yeah. And the game fills the void. And it's just like you're not telling yourself you're sore, you're not telling yourself you're tired, you're not trying to talk yourself out of stopping or quitting. Like you're in it. And it's such a beautiful thing.
Right. The worst is getting to the place. Right. Beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, oh, today's gonna suck. But if you just show up and start.
Yeah. No talking to people, no bullshit.
Yeah.
So you're living in the UK as a transfer student. You're racing in Europe. You're loving triathlon. Are you doing any other sports at this stage?
I ran with Winchester Athletics Club, which is probably one of the better clubs in the South. They put a couple people in the Olympics when I was in London. So we had track workout. I'd swim with the swim club right there in Winchester, and then bike with Satonia cycling team. It's perfect network.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then what? So you graduate, you get your master's in business, and then do you come back to South Carolina?
I did, yeah. I came back to South Carolina briefly because I was going to either work for Takeda Pharmaceuticals in Chicago, based out of there, or I had an internship in undergrad in the summer to Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah, so a company called Health Right Products. And they did only 2-piece capsules. So anything that's a supplement in 2-piece capsules. Enzymes, probiotics, sports supplements. But he hired me as a sales guy for their company. And he was great. He got the outdoors. He really did. Like we were close.
Everyone that lives in the Northwest gets the outdoors. I mean, like, okay, Colorado's kind of in the middle, but like Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Washington State, Oregon, like everyone is outside all the time. It's such a great place to be, I think, when it's not like raining. But if you're up in the mountains, it's sweet.
Yeah, in the summertime, you cannot beat the Pacific Northwest summer.
No.
Yeah. I have a cabin in Port Angeles, Olympic Peninsula. I live in Laguna West, talking about a place.
That's nice.
Geographically displaced, I would say, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, what was it like living in Oregon and still training for triathlons? Because I would reckon South Carolina would be more flat than Oregon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oregon, because you've got the Cascades. That tested your endurance. I'm sure you've done stuff full time while you're trying to, like I was trying to race elite triathlon, but I would have a meeting with Zymogen was a customer. They were in Orlando. That same week I was in Orlando, I raced in Hawaii.
Oh, wow. And how are you funding all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the skin of my teeth.
But that's it. Like it just doesn't make sense, does it? Like you're just putting all your own money into all this stuff just to be part of this like elite group of athletes.
Where I knew at that age, I was like, just say yes to as many opportunities. And luckily with the sponsor with Katoof and some other ones in the brands, like they had performance. So if I would achieve a certain result, you got paid. You can't achieve a result sitting on the side.
So you just got to go.
You got to get in the game and race.
But I mean, like, how many other triathletes that you were competing against had full-time 9 to 5, Monday to Friday jobs?
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or they're a trust fund kid.
Right.
We don't talk.
How many trust fund kids are there who want to like go out and run triathlons?
Too many.
Well, they're all here. They all want to make movies.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
I've got a sponsor. Okay. It's mom.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. And okay, so how long did your stint in Oregon last?
Yeah, so it's 2 years in Oregon. Company taught me a ton. I learned with grad school and like selling the Sandler selling system and management skills, he just put me in the business. I learned a lot from this guy.
Right.
But then I made a sale to a sponsor who is Now Foods. Greg Lindley was their QA department, but they sponsored me for triathlon. And I knew that they were growing and they were at capacity and couldn't make their own stuff. So I was like, hey, if you ever run out of capacity, we're contact me, because I do sales for supplement. So that was a big deal. And then, quite frankly, the commission structure we agreed on, he didn't pay me the true commission because of my age.
So he had to give you like a lesser?
Yeah. So I went for a run at lunchtime, called my father, and I told him what happened. I was like, this is not right. And I had been like, just thinking like, that's messed up. So I put in my notice after that. And I just went out, traveled, built a little cabin of courage. There was marine plywood, sold everything I had in literally everything, and went cross country with my buddy Brandon for like 30 days, climbing, running, and then drove back to South Carolina on like this 8-month travel around the world.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Eat, pray, love thing.
And is that the suitcase of courage, this kind of I don't know what you would call it, this motto or this logo or this way you live your life?
Yeah, I would say that's it. Because in grad school, an old suitcase got sent across to me and my training partner, Anthony, and we had a bad result in the race. We threw out all the sweets. It was from his mom, and I wrote courage on it. It came from Wisconsin. It didn't even have an area code, 677 over. I'll never forget it. And her phone number. We're like, screw that. And we wrote HTFU on the side. Harden the freak up. Then went riding our bikes for like 70 miles with no.
Nice.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just trying to understand like where you made this desire to share, to create this kind of like suitcase of courage path, and for you to go out and share it with people.
Right. I think it all is experiences. So that once we got that courage, then we'd be like, dig into the suitcase of courage. Then friends would kind of like, man, well, they're getting tough. A buddy of mine, Pierce, he's from Jersey in the Channel Islands. This cat showed up in, shape up looking hiking shoes with no laces. And we're on the Appalachian Trail with my other buddy. He gets quarter-size blisters on the first incline.
Yep.
He's like, I'm digging into the suitcase of courage, boys. Keeps it up for 3 days. We knocked out like 45 miles.
Not bad.
And he had a sheet, like not even a sleeping bag. And he's sleeping in the Smoky Mountains, which gets cold.
Yeah.
He's like, suitcase of courage. So it became something like everyone holds on to more than individual. Like, I'm part of Team Dorn. So suitcase of courage.
And that's crazy that you kind of branded that or came up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And now all your friends started using it when you were doing tough shit.
Yeah. Like dig deep, dig in the suitcase of courage.
Now, how do you position this suitcase of courage for people who are not as hardcore as you are?
It's up to them what's packed in it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to have that courage for whatever. Maybe it's a tough conversation. Maybe it's something that you need to quit doing. And that's digging into courage. It's not something you need to do. Maybe it's just stop doing that.
Yeah, most of the bad shit we're already doing to ourselves anyway.
It's a delete, not an addition.
Yeah. Suitcase of courage, huh? So stop drinking, stop smoking, exercise more.
Yeah, whatever you want to
be more present.
Right.
Yeah. It works for everything.
It does. It honestly does. I look at when we did the triathlon yesterday, my buddy, he great guy. He pitched at Texas, D1 pitcher. I look at the stem of his bike, and I got little stickers of a suitcase. He's got a suitcase of courage sticker right there. If you're tired, look down at that.
Yeah. That's a great motivator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you take this suitcase of courage and you take it around the United States talking to people about it?
Yeah. So suitcase of courage. Then after that trip around the world, since I did my dissertation in grad school on corporate wellness, our employee wellness as it relates to employer benefit, like the models of smoking cessation or someone being hurt at work. So I started a company called the Suitcase of Courage. And then we go in and build gyms for these companies and then do like musculoskeletal job task analysis so people don't get hurt. But that represents suitcase going to the person in Alabama, in Kentucky, over here in Irvine at a biotech company, learning about them and them having the courage to trust it.
It's amazing that this is like catching on. Like if you have healthier, happier employees, they do better for you and then they make more money. The company makes more money. everyone seems to, do better, especially with the hours that people are putting in. If you don't have a gym on site, your employees are just going to fall apart.
Yeah. We'll cut that clip and I'll put it on our website.
Okay.
Saying that,
Yeah. Get on that. Yeah.
But it's that simple. It's tough here, and I think especially where the cost of living's so high, these people are working second jobs, like entry-level manufacturing, and then they're doing a second-level job. They can't afford a gym membership, and then they're not sleeping. You got a lot of risk factors that you can eliminate just by taking care of your,
How much of the United, so I've lived abroad my whole life, right? So I've been away for like 25 years. I come back to LA in November last year after living in China and the Middle East, Dubai. I was in Dubai for a long time. And it's amazing, like, how expensive things are here.
Yeah.
And how no one has any, like, salary increases. Like, people are still making around the same amount of money they made like 20 years ago.
Right.
But everything's like 4x. And everyone's just getting squeezed. And to make ends meet, you're just creating this massive health problem,
Right.
of people who are eating poorly, working 2 jobs, not sleeping enough, not spending time with their kids enough.
Right.
Their kids are getting neglected. Like, it's just this societal problem of wiping out the middle class. So now you only have, like, lower middle class people or poor people who are working 2 or 3 jobs and have no time and are just living really difficult, unhealthy lives. And then there's just like the super rich, and there's like nothing left.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that more coming back here this time than I ever did on any of my visits over like the last 20 years when I was coming in to meet people or whatever. Like, you really start to feel that split. And if you're telling me, like, oh, we're going to put a gym in, and people are going to get a chance to like work out for an hour and at least like keep some muscle tone, burn a few calories, like get some endorphin release, like so healthy.
Right.
That's gotta pay dividends across their whole life, not just their work-life balance.
It does.
Yeah.
The whole culture of the place changes. That's cool because you're a new hire employee of 400 people. You don't know her as the CFO. You know her as Heather, right? And you meet her that way. It just does. And then part of our process is to recruit trainers that already work at the company.
Oh, that's smart.
So these people are already motivated. Then we teach them in 12 weeks how to be a yoga instructor. Team member ours, Maria, she leads that, or how to learn about heart rate so people can work out in their heart rate zones, do a 5K. And then they teach a class that's 25 minutes, so it's able for both salary and hourly employees to attend. So it's not just for them, like what they call carpet walkers or somebody in the office versus the people actually working.
That's nice because it kind of makes the working community and the workers of the company responsible for themselves.
Correct.
By giving them the tools that they need to be responsible.
It's all there. So the other part is like this. Today I was up at 5, or I was up at 3:45 and in at 5 with the first shift. So we change exercises based on their job. So we actually have the resistance bands, and we were doing shoulder strengthening modules, but the company pays time for them to start their day for 7 to 10 minutes to do these exercises. And we take a pre and post test every 8 weeks so they can see their improvement on their their range of motion, muscular strength.
So you kind of gamify it.
Correct. It's to the best of our ability.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. Like, you have to gamify exercise or else most people just lose interest.
Yeah. But even still today, there was a gentleman, he works really hard, has a second job. He's like, hey, I'm in a rush. I need to go do this. I was like, whoa. What you're about to do is move a 55-gallon drum after coming, working, driving an Uber. Wow, we got to get you ready to do this. And this is paid time. Like, you're not getting paid any extra to move that drum. So if you do have an injury occur, take this time. Like, this is the company paying you to exercise every day.
That's amazing.
Probably you get paid more doing that than racing triathlon.
Yeah, I bet. So how many companies have bought into?
Yeah, we're nationwide, like 30 locations.
Wow.
Yeah. Fujifilm is a big client. Fujifilm's great. Then Hyster-Yale, who makes forklifts, train air conditions. So those are our big 3 key clients.
And where are they located? Yeah.
It's their holdings. So they own different divisions. So Fujifilm's in biotech. Train Air Condition makes the air conditions at various locations, and Hyster-Yale makes the forklifts in Alabama, Kentucky, Greenville, North.
And you and your team travel around and
Yeah.
deliver this training and keep up with it and train the local people and then go back and do the assessment.
That's right. I've moved. That's why since after I started the company, I've moved 14 times
Jesus.
to start up these gyms.
And I mean, is it that labor intensive for you that you actually have to like move there and spend 6 or 8 months?
Yeah.
Like
I stopped moving as frequently after coronavirus. But you have companies where there's 800 people.
Mhm.
And the only way to get stuff done with that many people is to be there.
I bet.
And the best way to be there is to live close by.
Yeah. So what's it been like being a gypsy, getting this business up and running?
Yeah. Man, it's wild. I mean, it's been great. I've definitely learned. I never thought I would live in Newcastle, Delaware, right?
Mhm.
Or College Station, Texas. But the cool thing is you develop a network of friends and associates you work with that you stay in contact with. So now you know a little bit about places.
So when you first came out of doing your master's in business in England and you came back to the US, did you have a full-time job? Did you do anything else before you started this Suitcase of Courage stuff, or did you just be an entrepreneur right off the bat?
Right off. You ever been to New Zealand?
Yeah. No, I've never been to New Zealand, but I've got lots of friends there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in Queenstown,
Mhm.
New Zealand, and I was like, what are you going to do? It's getting near the end of the trip. But I've always journaled. I think writing stuff sounds great.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is the 3 things that I really want to pursue when I.
So hold on. So you came up with this Suitcase of Courage idea while you're doing triathlons and all this stuff with your friends. And then it took you this 8-month trip around the world to figure out how to turn it into a business.
Turn it out of business.
Yeah.
And even at that time, I didn't know the business name would be the Suitcase of Courage.
Mhm.
But I knew from coaching athletes, like I was coaching athletes for triathlon. But if I wrote up enough zone 2 for you, that's going to work for the next person.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the system. It doesn't need to be so specific because we're just trying to get people a little bit healthier.
Yeah, you're trying to get them from 0 to 1, not from 9 to 10. And 9 to 10 is much more intricate, right? You're just trying to get people to take the first step into basic physical health.
Correct. Give them the tools they need and avoid these postures
Mhm.
that we learn along the way. So I wrote down, first thing, it was crazy, it sounds, Alaska State Trooper,
Mhm.
because it came with a pilot's license. And I was like, I could never sit in a cubicle again. I was done with a cubicle from being in sales.
Mhm.
Second thing was Air Force Pararescue.
You did that?
No, that's what I wanted. That was my, and then the third thing was the Suitcase of Courage. So those are my 3. I was going to be one of those 3 things.
Mhm.
So I got to the last round of Alaska State Trooper,
Mhm.
but because I took one prescription medication that wasn't mine, then it disqualified me.
Really?
There for a lie detector test.
Oh, wow.
I even had the same quote as the guy interviewing me. He said it was his favorite quote, and they painted it in the gym for his wrestling team. Crazy.
And one pharmaceutical that wasn't yours.
That's right. That's truly it.
Pharmaceuticals are made to be shared.
Yeah, yeah. But at that time, that was going on, and I had a contract with Fujifilm, one location.
Mhm.
That then 4 months is all we had for our first contract. But I rode my bike in with my sleeping bag, Ryan,
Mhm.
on the back of it. So I would stay in the cube, back again in the cube, to
Mhm.
work with a third shift.
Mhm.
Because that's how low I was on money.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm dedicated. And then New York saw the benefit of what we did, and they picked up on it. And they're like, would you be interested?
And how many facilities have you made for Fuji?
17.
All around the U.S.
All around the U.S. from that one shot for 4 months. And it was, we didn't even have a gym or anything.
Wow. So people are picking up on this.
It's cool. 11 years in.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Tons of life.
What is it? What does it feel like to be an entrepreneur?
It's hard to say it in one concise.
It's like working 24/7, but you never work a day in your life because you're building your own baby. You're building your own house. You're building everything for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see something that needs attention
Mhm.
or something that breaks, then you have to do that. Right. But you're just aware. I think it gives you a higher level of awareness of of how things work.
Yeah. It's funny. So I consume social media like everyone else. So I guess I'm fucked up, as fucked up as everyone else. But one of the things I've been seeing a lot of since COVID is all this kind of, and maybe it's just the algorithms feeding me this negativity, but all this stuff about working for companies and how companies aren't your family.
Right.
And how if you're sick, don't go to work because, they don't really care about you.
Yeah.
Or if you work 18 years in one company, you can show up one day and be fired before lunch, right?
Right.
Like,
Your job's already posted or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you never understand that mentality. Like, there's never a day where you're sick. There's never a day where you don't feel like doing it. There's never a day where you feel down or depressed, because you might have difficult days building your business, but it's still your business. It's still your vision, right? And that idea of pursuing your vision just gets rid of so much other negativity in your life. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. The thing I see too is it's not guaranteed. The first 3 years, I was always afraid, like I'd get a call and like our contract's up.
Mm-hmm.
You're just so motivated to double down, like, oh, we did it. Let's do it better. Let's do it better. Until you finally get a system that works. And then you start, like, now I have full-time team members that have families.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, like that social media thing, you're actually the one that I don't want to lay anyone off.
Mm-hmm.
So I become protective of them and their family, their children.
Mm-hmm.
But it's truly a small organization. And I was like, how can we retain these awesome people? And we have people now that's been 9 years. The lowest team member's 6 years. Maria's like 8 years. Andre's 8. And so I was like, let's put stuff in so they have that balance. Like, it's not like when I was working in a queue.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're racing like top tier. And we all did Boston Marathon together. Like, they're all high achieving athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives them their space to be them. But it also gives them a reliable source of income and something meaningful to them where their personal income out.
That's great. I mean, what's it been like for you going from being like this ruthless, entrepreneur where you're sleeping in your first gym that you're building, trying to cut all costs and just get stuff done for your client, to now having this big team that you've got, this family that you've got to take care of and make sure that you do right by.
Right. I think you never forget that you took that sleeping bag there and slept, because if you do, then your time's a ticket, because there's somebody else, just like in athletics, willing to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
But it's also now is listening to them, and we just work instead of like a hierarchy that's vertical, we're more like this.
Mm-hmm.
We put in a cool program where 5 years you're on the team. REI, I saw one time, said if you work for 20 years at REI, you get a paid trip wherever you want to go.
20 years.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that stuff feels like a little long.
20. You know what we're doing in 5?
Yeah.
Dude, 5 years, wherever.
Yeah.
And that's cool, So if you're 10 years, you got 2. If you're 15, you got 3. So 20 by 4.
Yeah. That's not bad, right? Yeah.
A couple people's already taken it. He's been to Asia, Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
This guy went everywhere. I'm like, wherever you want to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's nice that you do that for your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you go by feel. Cool.
Well, that's how you retain great people,
Yeah.
is by giving them freedom.
Right.
Yeah. Not by putting your thumb down on them every day from 9 to 5 and telling them all the mistakes they're making.
And hovering, right? Like, we had a gentleman, his wife was having a baby. He's like, what's our paternity leave? I was like, well, let's figure it out. What do you need? Like, we don't have this written up beforehand.
Yeah.
You take as much time as you need,
Uh-huh.
focus on your baby. Work's going to be here.
Yeah.
But we need you.
Yeah. And I think, though, that people respect that, right? And then they want to come back early, or they want to try to do as much as they can because they feel like they're part of something bigger and they like that. They're happy to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's great. And everybody's motivated to, we call it I reach. You ever get a Stretch Armstrong, Ryan?
Stretch Armstrong.
Did you ever that?
I know Lance Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong was a toy.
Oh, yeah, where you pull the thing. Yeah.
So we do a summit each year.
It's the with the coils and you pull it.
That's right, with a little gel in it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's us. We set the company as like I reach, which stands for integrity, relationships, enthusiasm, agility, courage, and health.
Oh, that's nice.
That's what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody got to Stretch Armstrong, because sometimes, like today, you got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go in and then drive to North Hollywood through the traffic or whatever. But then you come back and you're strong. But you got to reach out.
Yeah. That's not bad. I like that. I reach.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, so you're in your 11th year, so which means you started in 2012, 2013.
In 2013.
So how did you make it through COVID without going bankrupt? Because no one was allowed to go to the gym. Life was fucking miserable. I had to fire all my guys from my production company. Like, I had to shut down my whole thing because I couldn't get on an airplane. I thought I had it figured out. I was making television shows. and I had a speaking career.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if the TV shows aren't working, I can keep talking.
Right.
If the talking goes down, I can make more TV shows. But then COVID knocked them both out.
Just talk in the groups. You couldn't get in front of the crowd.
And I can't get on an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. It was really bizarro land. But someone in the gym and the fitness and the healthcare industry would have had a similar problem,
That's right. Especially state by state.
Oh, it's all different.
And we had to be up to date on the states. So we kept a running document of what's changed. Yeah. We won't go into that because I can tell you some weird little instances in counties for all over the nation. Like, who wrote this?
Did you go close to going bankrupt?
No.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. I guess because you're being paid by the companies no matter what, right? No matter whether the gyms are open or not.
Well, we were proactive. We're like, hey, we realize we cannot do the same service.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do a price reduction, not a discount.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we want to keep a pulse on this, and here's what we can do. So everything went online that time, right? Like all the virtual classes. So I was like, okay, we need to find what the best gyms are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Lifetime Fitness. I love Lifetime Fitness. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what is Lifetime Fitness doing during this time? And how can we use something like that for us? So I saw the developer of a Lifetime Fitness app. He had left. Found him. He's Canadian.
Nice.
Suitcase of courage. Got an application. And real quick. And here's what we want to do. And we can base it off this nice app that's a premium.
Mm-hmm.
And then connect it to these people so they get credit still for their health insurance. And give them the programming where they can still reach out, but via blind, so they can go on Skype and contact us, and then we make all.
So hold on. If you do like basic working out at a gym, in the United States, you can get healthcare discounts,
right?
Only for companies or just
insurance. You need your insurance. It needs to be connected to activity, whatever.
Okay. Base jumping.
No life there.
But that's interesting though. So for the hours that all these people would work out, they would also get a health insurance discounts.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So you connect it back to that. It was a good data point too, because one of our things were based upon the job. People did exercises to prevent injury, like shoulder sprains, back strains.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when people weren't meeting as a group, guess what happened to the injury?
Went way through the roof. Because they're just getting off the couch at home and they're just going to start doing yoga and not even be warmed up?
And injuries went up. So we had data before that a third party showed us where we got referrals that it went down. Now they're not meeting as a group doing the exercises. It goes up.
Because they weren't doing it at home by themselves.
They were doing it in the groups in the office.
Right.
So these manufacturing workers still had to go in.
But they were going in smaller groups, right? Because they had to social distance.
It's a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The team was the key.
The team. You got to have that group component, camaraderie to do it. No one's going to do it. The hyper-motivated person is going to do their exercise on it. Like maybe you and I, Yeah. I'll exercise in the closet. Yeah, because it feels good.
I don't know. LA life has made me pretty soft.
I do say so.
It's hard to leave. Yeah.
I was wearing a jacket at 72 degrees.
Yeah. It's chilly out there, man.
Yeah. It's wind.
I was in Wyoming last week, and I went climbing for the first time in a long time because I'm trying to get back into a pretty decent level of fitness because I want to start filming again as quickly as possible, hopefully this year, if not early next year. And it had been a while since I had climbed at like 12,000 feet.
Yeah.
And that was a good wake up call. So I was just like huffing and puffing trying to get my wind. No, we were just around Jackson Hole. Yeah, we didn't go right into the depths of the Tetons, but hopefully next time I'm back. But we were just kind of doing some warm up stuff, and a little bit of hiking and a little bit of climbing. But it was good to kind of wake those muscles up again. Because in LA, there's nothing around, right? And I don't want to climb indoors. Mount Baldy's the one.
6,400 to 10,000 vertical. That's what you get.
Yeah, and it's what 90 minutes. 90 minutes for you, 7 hours for me. Yeah. It's what, near Big Bear?
It is, yeah, but on this side.
Okay. I really want to do the John Muir trail through I got to do that.
211 miles.
Take my time though, really enjoy it.
You never regret doing it. You're like,
no,
oh, man,
never.
I wish I didn't do that hike.
Yeah.
It said,
You know what the problem is though, and this is, I've had a few chats with this. Like I'm a little spoiled. Okay, so I went to China when I was 22, and I learned how to do through hiking and climbing and this kind of stuff in China.
Yeah.
And China is the best because you live in Shanghai and you're like a 2.5 hour flight from Lhasa, right? So then you fly and then, okay, you're in Tibet, this mystical place that everyone in the world wants to be. And it's like so close to your home. And then you get there, your friend picks you up, they drive you out to a trailhead, you acclimatize for 2-3 days. And then you've got a donkey driver, another donkey driver, the donkey driver's wife who's going to cook for you. You got 10 donkeys. You load all the food, you load all the petrol, you load everything up on the thing, you load all the backpacks up, and you just walk for 10, 12 days through the Himalayas in the middle of nowhere. And it's bliss. But out here, you've got to carry like a 30, 35, 40-pound pack. It's got to have all your food in it. There's got to be, supply points where you're resupplying. You got to ship food out to you beforehand. I mean, I absolutely am blown away by all the people that do these through hikes. Like the Continental Divide is one I really want to do. John Muir, Pacific Crest, maybe too long. It takes like 3 months or something, or 6 months. But all these through hikes, like the dedication and the planning and the organization is unbelievable. Whereas back in the day, we were just super lazy. We'd show up with a backpack, throw it at the feet of a donkey, someone would put it on the donkey, and then you just go. And you've got a day pack, 2 liters of water, couple snack bars, and you're good till dinner, right? And it was such a nice way to explore the Himalayas.
Yeah. It's Kush over there.
It's Kush.
Yeah. And you could. We went to Pakistan the last couple of years.
Okay. Yeah. That's Hindu Kush.
Yeah. Right there on the border of it. But those expedition type deals, at first they're a little more logistics to get over there, to get it approved, to get in the country.
Yeah.
But it is right. It's nice having a pack animal.
Yeah.
Or burro.
In Tibet, we had yak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like the size of SUVs, man.
Right.
They're immense. And it's so much fun to like be on the trail with like 10 yak. Like it's part of the experience, right? I guess it's part of the experience too, like carrying all your shit and yeah. But the thing is, I think that when your feet start hurting, not because of the trail and not because of the difficulty of the trail, that's when you've got to fucking knuckle down and bear through it, right? Because when you're like, oh, my pack's too heavy and now I've got blisters or my feet are hurting. Like I think it does take away something from just the sheer enjoyment of nature.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Because it's just your mind's on the suck.
Yeah. A little bit. Mind's on the suck. Is that a South Carolina thing?
Like, it's what it is. You know?
Yeah. That's wild. Okay. So you made it through COVID.
Yep.
You've got this incredible team around you. You're helping Americans who work really hard at their jobs stay healthier and get healthcare insurance discounts. You've been doing this now for 11 years. What's the number one thing you've really learned about people? Because how many people do you come into contact with
40,000 overall thus far we've worked.
Yeah. I mean, what are your takeaways? I mean,
I think here's the biggest thing.
Humanity is dead. Humanity is dying slowly.
The interactions, like working with someone in Boston is going to be much different than working with someone in Sullivan, Alabama, right? But you look at it, there's a parable like in the Bible, I think it applies well, where they have the talents, right? Mm-hmm. I see talents is the most talents the West Coast. People know they need to be fit and active.
Mm-hmm.
You're not telling anybody in Laguna Beach, oh, you should be active.
Yeah.
They get it.
Well, this is the narcissism capital of the world, so people need to be fit and looking.
So, yeah, they know they want to take care of themselves, right? But to the person in Alabama that might drive 50 minutes into the office, right, and he's there before the sun's even out, if we do a little bit with them, like don't expect them to have the same level of fitness and everything else, but those are the most rewarding. Some of these places where there's no access to a gym, there's no access to healthy food, and then they go and complete their first 5K or run a half marathon. You got to celebrate that so much, just as much as a company out here not having any injuries for 2 years because they understand the movement patterns and or have that mobility.
I mean, what have these companies come back to you and told you with regards to like workplace efficiency and worker efficiency based on the progress of the training that they've done with you?
Right. In terms of success stories and things of that nature.
Yeah, because it would have to be huge. Yeah. I mean, again, taking like 5,000 factory workers from 0 to 2 on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10,
Right.
10 being, you know, a triathlete, and 0 being someone who can't put on their socks in the morning because they're so inflexible.
Yeah.
And they have no, you know, they haven't been training at all. Like taking thousands of people from 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 must completely transform a workplace environment.
For sure. And the coolest is some people are adverse to it first. They don't trust you. You come into a new place and they don't want anything to do with it.
I don't trust you.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, I'm like, you have my trust more when I first meet, you know, like it's the person to lose because I know we have a good thing. And from the heart, I always tell our team, like, don't let your light burn out. Because there's a lot of people who's going to be like, no, that's stupid. We don't spend the energy there. You spend the energy on the people who are gravitating towards you, and then they can convince their coworkers.
Yeah, let them do the hard work.
Yeah, let them come. We're going to be there. We're going to keep showing up. We're not going to quit on you. So we had someone in the South. He didn't want anything to do with the program for the first 2 years. Next thing you know, he comes up and he goes to a class. Next thing you know, he starts enjoying the class. Then he runs like a 50K.
Oh, shit.
5K, 50K. Then,
nothing in between?
Yeah, he did, but he got so into it. Then they interviewed him, which I saw interviewing. He's like, I'm back in the same pant size as I am in college. Now he's an instructor.
Wow.
So he goes from totally against the program to become an instructor. Or we have a person in Rhode Island who his shoulders hurt when he rides his motorcycle. He didn't want to do the exercise at first, but then he takes the band home we give him and he does the exercises because they make him feel good riding his motorcycle. That's the change that we like to see.
And that's amazing because you're basically making fitness available to people that don't have any other options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to relate with them and you can't come in like
that is the worst.
Dude, don't be a tool. You know, you just can't come in like the fitness influencers and all that stuff. Great. You can take your shirt off and flex. Congratulations. But how does that person that's 65 relate to you because you're 21? No, that's not us.
And does your South Carolina background bring that home because you seem like a pretty down-to-earth kind of humble guy?
For sure.
Yeah. Like you didn't grow up a couple blocks from here with like parents in the movie industry? No.
My parents, I grew up in a double-wide trailer. My parents cut wood from behind the house and made it into more rooms. That's what I know.
But I mean, that relatability must help so much.
Yeah. Once they see it's genuine. It is genuine. I mean, it really is. That's it.
So how many other sports teams do you sponsor other than your high school football club?
We're going to stick with the high school. You know, we've done some outreach to our like 96 and Emerald. They're kind of rivals for us.
Okay.
So, small things.
Yeah.
But it's important because the impact there is so big. Going back to a small town like them, we got polos for the kids this year, and they got the Wear Shoals emblem on their chest and a little suitcase of courage on their sleeve, and they go and read to the elementary school in their polos, so they look professional. And everyone's wearing the same thing.
That's cool. It's like a little team. Yeah. I mean, what does it feel like flying from LA back to South Carolina to do stuff like that in your old community and having a chance to like where you grew up and then this incredible kind of journey you've been on and now to be able to go back and share that?
Yeah. I'm sure you can relate to this from traveling everywhere. It takes a second to get grounded.
Yeah.
Like it's almost surreal when you get off a plane sometimes because sure, they can take a road and get here, but that gives you time to like acclimatize as you're passing through. But I think the quicker you can, like when I get home, I go for a run. I'll do some of the same certain things that ground me down.
See, like when I go back home, I go back to Toronto, right? And Toronto's a huge multicultural city where people have come from all over the world to make it home, right? Yeah. That's kind of like what Canada is for a lot of people. So I go back to the University of Toronto and I give talks at the university, but I would say like 2/3 of the students aren't even from Canada. Like they weren't born in Canada or they're first generation, right? Yeah. I would say more than half are first generation and maybe a third are weren't even born. They're all international students. So I take my 25 years abroad and I go back to the University of Toronto and they're all from all the places I've been anyway. So they're quite excited.
Yeah.
But I don't get that kind of same feeling like, I've seen the world and I'm coming back home to share what I've done because all the people in the audience,
they're coming from where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get the ones where I'm from to say, hey, you can buy a plane, train, or bus ticket to go there, and that will stay with you.
That's nice. Yeah, I think the U.S. would be a lot better of a place if people like really bought into experiential travel versus just buying shit they don't need. Yeah. I was chatting with someone the other day. I was like, you know, like Warren Buffett, I just read today, actually, like he's 94, 95 years old, one of the richest men in the United States. And they were talking about his kids and how he's going to build out these charities and have his kids run them. And that's going to be his like legacy. Right. And I was like, what if Warren Buffett like put together some kind of trust where kids that didn't have the means could take a gap year after high school and before university and see the whole world.
Right.
Like, how much better would America be if any kid that wanted to do that had the financial resources to put college on hold, take a beat, and go see the world and come back with a whole different perspective? I think that'd be amazing. Like one of these billionaires, fuck, the guys going to space and all these guys going to space. Everyone wants to go to space, but no one's like really thinking about like the minds and the well-being of like the children that are coming through now. Like, how do we make them more worldly? Because in the end of the day, I think if we all kind of think we're global citizens, we're all better off. Yeah. That's my take on the world. And of course, you've got like famously like 70% of Americans don't own passports. So you've got a whole bunch of people that like this kid at the gym, Stevie, he's a boxer. He trains me, works me to the bone. He's just really rough. I love it. But he doesn't have a passport and he's never been outside the United States. He's 21. And I'm like, man, like, when are you going to get out of here? When are you going to go see something? You know, and I'm chipping in his ear all the time. Like, go get a passport, buddy. Go get a passport. I'll fucking pay. Just go get a passport. Go get a passport. Yeah. It's amazing.
It does. And it stays with you the whole thing. Like even in grad school, it was like think globally, act locally type deal, you know? And yeah, if there was some way, I think the coolest thing was I saved just a little enough money, had a way out with triathlon to get a plane ticket and to see it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You want to feel like you won the lottery, you can buy a plane ticket to some places and then come back. You'll feel like you won the lottery.
Yeah.
All right. We can name a list. I mean, but people are great there. And this might be some of the best people you ever met, but they're happy and they don't have the newest, latest, fanciest, brightest, shiniest thing.
No,
it's okay.
It's such a bubble here. Yeah.
It's a bubble.
Yeah. It's a crazy bubble. Yeah. But they don't have the latest phone or the latest shoes or whatever, you know, it's just people trying to get by, but you can learn so much from everyone.
Right. Like Nepal, like going there, the whole thing they say about never ending peace and love. Right. And people just sit and talk.
Yeah.
That's cool. Or you don't know the language. The number of times I've been climbing or hiking someone I can't really interact with because I don't know the language, I start we pointed a rock. It's a bigger rock. We start picking up little rocks trying to hit it. That's happiness. Just sit there and throw a rock at something else and then you can see their expressions.
Yeah.
We got one goal.
I really like, I've really fallen in love a little bit with South America over the last few years because I filmed there quite a bit. And I find like people there really, they work to live. They don't live to work.
Yeah.
And they just like when their work is done at the end of the day, like then they'll go out, have dinner with their friends every night. They'll be out every night. They go out for drinks. They live out. Right. Yeah. And I think that's quite a nice lifestyle.
Right. There is advantage to that. My mother was a nurse, same hospital for 40 years. And one thing that always stuck with me that she said was I get to clock out. When I clock out, I leave that behind. And she said that time and time again. And she went through, you know, she worked in ICU, saw some crazy things, but she was like, when I clock out, I'm present now with you and your.
That's nice. That's the total opposite of you being an entrepreneur. Okay, so we'll come back to Suitcase of Courage in a second, but I want to go back to your 8-month trip around the world that changed your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finished school, you're doing some triathlons in Europe.
Yep.
Okay, you come back to South Carolina, then you're out in Washington State doing that, or Oregon doing that job, and then you quit, and then tell me about this 8-month trip around the world.
So the first thing, I sold everything, built that cabin for less than $1,000 on a lawnmower trailer, 5x8. Painted mountains on the side with a sword that said "Keep charging," and I had that one.
You gotta show me. You gotta show me.
Yeah. And when people see it pulling behind the Land Rover Discovery, I was like, homeowner, baby. So then that goes to South Carolina. I wanted to do the Camino de Santiago
in Spain. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I made a blood pact with a buddy, 3 of us. We all cut our hand and put it in the mail. Made a blood pact that we'd meet in Paris and then take a train to our room.
Right, which is the start.
That's right.
Yeah.
From the northern, so the Camino Norte to the Camino Preventivo.
And you did it.
We did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a woman on the podcast just a few weeks ago, Lori Singer, and she did the Camino.
Yeah.
And she is like, this changed my life. Like, she's like, this is all I want to do now, is just do 30-day hikes all around the world, because you get to feel the nature, you get to meet the people, you get to stay locally, you get to eat the local food, everything's fresh, you feel great every day, you're walking 25 miles a day. Yeah. What was your experience like?
I mean, it was wonderful because we went through, I'd been to Spain before that, but it was purpose driven. Like, that was the first thing where I knew I had to wake up every day and move forward. But at the same time, we'd get wine after getting our little stamp in the church, and we just celebrate. Or we were at albergue, and then everybody would fix something from their local country. And then you're staying for like $5 or €5 a night.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Isn't it great to have that purpose, but also be able to like turn off your brain? Like, you don't have to think. You're just like, the alarm goes off, pack the bag, put on the boots, walk.
Correct.
Yeah.
My buddy Danny met an Italian girl. He was like left behind. You know, he had to get married to her.
Yeah.
He actually did propose. They got engaged for a little bit. So then I was on my own, and I met a good friend, Silvana, who I'm friends with to this day. That's a ski instructor in Italy. We just walked together.
Yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I love walking so much. I made a TV show about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just walking across deserts, walking through mountains, just walking everywhere. Like, it's such a great way to connect with like the team around you, the people around you. But it gives you such space. And the thing that made me want to go back to your trip, your around the world trip, is because that allowed you to have the time and the space to think about your next step.
Yeah.
And to think about how you wanted to re-enter the United States as an entrepreneur with this business idea. And the reason I love that is because I did similar things when I was younger, and I took time away and spent time in the mountains by myself, hiking, climbing, whatever. And it just gives you that distance to like figure out who you are a little bit better, and then also come up with some plan of doing work that's not going to go against like your core beliefs as a human being. Yeah.
I think it's like when you lose perspective, go to a place where you lose reception. Like, it all comes.
Yeah.
And then and you can't rush it. The more you try to force something, the worse it is. And it might take 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but then you get that clarity, and you have your journal and you're writing stuff down, like gold.
I think the problem with our modern civilization today is that we really do think too much.
Yeah.
And I think most people are anxious or nervous or insecure, and they end up thinking too much and talking themselves out of doing epic shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the thing about this perspective and that perspective, it's yours. Do you want to do it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
This is you.
And if you can stand up in front of people and be humble and honest and engaged in what you're actually doing, you can sell anything to anyone. Yeah.
If you believe it, and you inside, you don't feel like it's disingenuous.
Right.
Because you can tell.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk right through people. Yeah.
You've traveled, so much. You can read that energy.
Yeah. Okay, so where'd you go after the Camino?
Camino, so then I went down to Portugal to the Algarves, and then took a boat across to
Morocco.
Tangier.
Tangier's a tough town.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tangier's tough.
There's Mercedes, where they have, where they pass the door handle back. Did you ever get in that?
No, what's that?
They're like from the 70s to roll it down so somebody could smoke, because they crowd you into the old Mercedes so much.
Yeah.
So I went Tangier. Then I met a professor. He was like, "Hey, man, come stay with me in Casablanca."
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he was an English professor. And then I went to, of course, like Marrakesh.
Did you go to Chefchaouen? Chefchaouen is like the hashish capital of Morocco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it towards Fez, like Atlas Mountains, or farther south?
Yeah, it's like in the middle. Yeah, into the Atlas Mountains. Yeah. But I went through there. I was crazy one time. And then I filmed an episode of TV in Marrakesh. You go to the night market?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. The souks and all that. Snake charmers with the no teeth.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I loved Marrakesh. We climbed Mount Toubkal, actually, which is the highest mountain in North Africa, which was quite nice. It's not that high. But we went in winter. I think we did it in February. Oh yeah. Yeah. We had crampons and ice axes. Yeah. The winter ascent is quite rough. The summer's pretty gentle.
Yeah.
But doing it in snow was amazing. Highly, highly recommended. Yeah. So after Morocco, where'd you hit?
Morocco ran with the bulls.
In Pamplona?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
In 2013, not 2013. When did I graduate college? I don't think 2009.
Okay.
We said by 2013 we're gonna roll with the bulls in a computer class. Buddy Dylan Potts and Piers DeGrucci, and dadgummit, 2013 we ran with the bulls.
And what the fuck was that like?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
It's the one thing, like going back, and I've done a lot of random things. Yourself, you're like, dang, that could have went south. We're all bleeding. I got punched in the face
By a cop?
by a cop. Have you ever ran with them?
No. I wasn't.
No.
But hold on. I did go to Pamplona with these. I was traveling in Spain at one stage, and I went to Pamplona, and I met up with these 2 Danish guys.
Okay.
And we went out for dinner one night, got drunk, and then we retraced the running with the bulls without the bulls at 3 a.m, completely wrecked. And we tried to do it justice. I was just in there in the wrong season.
But yeah, then we went, and then, the fireworks when it goes off. This is the key part.
Yeah.
The worst part is getting to the actual stadium after.
Mm-hmm.
But when the fireworks go off, everybody runs early. But you can't run away from the bulls.
No.
The Spaniards hate that.
You got to run with them. And you're supposed to have a hand touching them while you're running. That's the way they do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the fireworks, everybody starts running. I'm in the middle of Dylan and Piers, and I grab their shirts, and I say, I'm not in the military, but this is my best. I was like, hold the line. Stay here. They're running. We wait till they come around that curve, and then all of us were right beside the bull. Like every one of us had a newspaper in our hand and made contact.
Which is the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're too far ahead of them, you just get the horns.
And the people in the arena hate you getting to the arena before. So they're throwing glass, everything. If you don't run with the bulls, then you're a coward. You shouldn't be in there.
So I never heard that story.
Man. Then you get into the arena with the bulls, and they close it off, and they release a smaller bull at a time. That's the most dangerous part, because the arena's packed. Then it just parts like the Red Sea, and this frantic bull is in there. They've got their horns corked at that time, but it's making contact. And if you disrespect the bull, believe it or not, by holding on to it, then the locals come and just punch.
Sounds like the locals are more dangerous than the bulls.
Experience. So I ran with the bulls, and then one thing I was proud of is since I started to, even then when I was working, I always say my parents were great, and they never traveled outside the country. So I got them a plane ticket to Paris and Rome to meet me.
Oh, that's nice.
And that was their experience. So got to meet them in Paris and Rome after. And then from Rome, I went to Nepal from there, connected in the middle. Then Nepal, or actually went to Thailand and did help exchange. That's how the trip was extended. You ever heard of that, of help exchange?
No, help.
So you can volunteer for a place to stay.
Okay.
And then meals. So I worked at like an orphanage on the Mesat, the Burmese border.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty intense.
Yeah. All the people coming out of like Burma, Myanmar, all the refugees. Yeah. Golden Triangle, drug lords.
Exactly. Opium, everything.
Yeah.
Mesat.
You were in the middle of all that. It's a long way from South Carolina.
Thailand to Nepal, then did the trek Annapurna circuit, Gorapani. Met one of my best friends there, trekking around. Didn't know him. Now we're like this. I went to.
How is the Annapurna?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. Oh, then you could do your Tim's card solo. I'm sure you did the same.
No, I never did the Annapurna.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't have to hire a local. Then you didn't have to hire a local.
Oh, nice.
So we went in Kathmandu and got our own trekking card.
Okay.
And we just made it up ourselves.
Oh, that's amazing. I like that freedom.
I really.
We filmed in Nepal a couple of years ago, but we were thinking about doing the Annapurna trek, but we thought it was like too touristy.
Yeah.
So we ended up going up through the Mustang Kingdom, which is like north of Jomsom.
Yeah.
But straight north.
Yeah.
Right to the Tibet border. And it's, I don't know, it was like 100 and something miles of, I don't know, it took us like 8 or 10 days, but it was really raw and like very few tourists were there.
Yeah.
And it was really local and quite pretty. But I still want to go back and do the Annapurna.
Yeah.
I've never been to Everest Base Camp on the Nepal side, but in 2000, I drove my motorcycle to Everest Base Camp on the Tibet side because we did the China motorcycle trip way back in the day. Yeah. That was good fun. I'll send you some links.
Yeah. But the connections you make traveling is amazing. A friend of mine, he climbed the north face of Everest. I met him on an airplane out of Kathmandu.
Oh, wow.
From the Carolinas.
Really?
2013.
Yeah.
And I just climbed with him in Pakistan the last couple of years. And we still stay in touch about like heart rate training and our friends and just met. How great. We sat next to each other.
Yeah, you build friends for life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just by sitting next to someone.
Well, just the fact that you were both crazy enough to go somewhere and do something, that's the bond, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He owns a guiding company, Himalayan Alpine Guides. It's awesome.
Nice. Has he broke the record for the 14 peaks?
He's not. He knows all those.
Yeah. Did you ever see Nims? Nims died.
I saw him getting off a helicopter when I was getting on a helicopter one time.
Right.
Yeah. In Pakistan on the Baltoro next to like K2 and stuff.
I remember I was going to do, there's a climb in Nepal. It's like a 7,000 meter peak, which is what, like 24? No, it's, I can't remember.
Amadal.
Yeah, maybe Amadal, yeah.
Yeah, Amadal or something like that.
Yeah, and Nims is, I was in touch with Nims's guiding company, and he was gonna take us up there, and we were gonna try to film something, but it didn't. I think COVID hit. I was like 2019, 2020, and never worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. There's something about the mountains.
Yeah, it's so special, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, really quite unique. Okay, so you volunteered in Thailand, you ended up in Nepal. Where else did you go?
Went to Malaysia. Went to Kuala Lumpur and like the Batu Caves here. It was cool.
Yeah.
Still more nature. Then from there, I went to Australia, Blue Mountains. Went down the Blue Mountains, climbed a little bit, and then rented a juicy camper van in New Zealand, which I loved, on the South Island, and stayed in a little camper van for like 3 weeks.
That's supposed to be the best way to see New Zealand.
The best way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I could rent a DVD then. And they asked me what my address was, and I gave them my license plate. All right, cool. This is awesome.
Yeah. How long were you in New Zealand for?
Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks just driving around.
Didn't have Wi-Fi. It was still internet cafes. And I was in Glenarchy, which was next to Mount Alfred, which is a really good climb over in Markles. And I had this little spot. It was my shower spot, man. It was a stream. And I used to go down there. They call them the jandals. I'm getting in my towel, my soap. And then one day I go down there, I'm like, there's this bigger guy. Or he hit my shower spot because I'm in hiking, climbing. He's like, they're filming a Toyota commercial. I'm naked as can be in the stream. I'm like, dude, I'm getting my shower. What? And there's a helicopter flying over.
And you were naked in the river below.
I made the cut, man.
No. They what, edited you out?
I don't know. I think it was a Chinese like commercial. Does Toyota import into China?
Oh, for sure. And the Chinese will do a lot of their commercials internationally for the Chinese audience to get them in that mood of like traveling. They use New Zealand and Australia all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I need to find that and see if there's a guy on our stream.
I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. And then after New Zealand,
then they came back to the States, flew into LAX. Actually, a buddy of mine picked me up. First time seeing the Hollywood side.
Oh, wow. Really?
Went to an Empire of the Sun concert.
Okay.
Marine station at Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
Hilarious.
And I mean, 8 months abroad. I mean, what did that do to you as an American coming back? Were you just like, oh man, this life's easy?
It stays with you.
Yeah.
Like you accrued. Like, I don't think bucket list. Like, I think people talk about bucket list, but they kick the can down the road. Like, just do it now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with that. If I died after that trip, cool. I saw tons of the world. Like we were saying, there's Americans don't have passport, but that just became like something I wanted to do. And while I was on that trip, I wrote down, I want to see more countries in years of my life. So I journaled, and now I'm like almost 2 to 1 for years of my life. And so that's a good goal to stay with.
Yeah. It's amazing like how those end up being like the formative years of your life, whether you do it in your 20s or your 40s. Those are still the years that change you the most.
Right.
And it's just like, why are we all not doing this earlier if we can find a way to fund it for people, right?
And it's less expensive than fancy dinners in Laguna Beach, guys.
Yeah, so much more. And that's just a waste.
It is.
Yeah.
Like anytime you go out and you get the bill, you're like, oh, I could price that plane ticket. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the plane ticket, but you're going to save so much by staying there.
Yeah. And walking.
Yeah, go to Argentina and get the steak. It's better.
It is better. And way cheaper.
Yeah, Mendoza.
Yeah.
Go on.
Have you been to Mendoza?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I climbed Aconcagua.
When did you do that?
This year.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to send you the video. So we made an episode of climbing Aconcagua.
Okay.
In 2019 or 18, and that was amazing. How'd you do?
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and no problems.
no problem.
Altitude.
Fine.
Yeah, we had some bad weather when we went. Like 4 or 5 people died.
Okay.
But they were unguided.
Yeah.
I don't know who does these high mountains unguided because you don't know the weather. Like, and then like our guides had satellite information and they had walkie-talkies and they're
Right.
like, don't go today, go tomorrow. Like there were other people involved.
Yeah.
But if you're unguided, you're just like, oh, I'm going up the mountain today. And then a fucking weather front comes in and then they sit down to have a rest and they fall asleep and they die of exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real deal. I mean, I was on Denali with no guy, buddy.
Okay.
Well,
How was that?
it's real.
Did you make it to the top?
No. We took too much gear.
Yeah.
And I ended up I've never had an injury climb before, said that, but I pulled a couple of my T-spine out. The sled goes back.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to pay attention. I keep a satellite phone. I get weather forecasts, listen to the ranger updates.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot.
No, you got to. But did you, yeah. How is Aconcagua?
Smooth.
Yeah.
Really smooth. Like I had no issues on that guy. We went from one side to the other. So we did a traverse. I can't remember if we went from the east to the west.
You probably started off on the west and then went over and then down to the east, right? You started off at the main base camp? Oh, okay. So you started on the east and went across.
That's
there.
right. Yeah. Busy. So we were the only ones because it closed behind us
Mm-hmm.
because of mudslides.
Oh.
So we were the only ones in the other base camp.
Oh.
3 of them.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, when I was there was like hundreds of people at base camp. Yeah.
It was insane to see. We came down to that base camp.
Yeah, it's like a city. It's like a city.
Highest art gallery.
Did you go there?
Yeah.
We did a whole piece with the guy with the highest. Isn't he beautiful? Yeah, he's such a sweet guy. We did a whole thing with him and how he's like fallen in love with nature and he's
massages there and yoga classes.
Yeah.
Barbershop.
Maybe showers were $10. That's all I remember. But we lived at that base camp for like 7 nights.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be there for 4, I think, and then they delayed us going higher.
Yeah.
And then Camp 1's beautiful because you're on that little platform.
Right.
Or you might have been different on the way down. But did you stay at Camp 3 on the west side where you come down and it's just like that little bird's nest and you can see everything?
Exactly. Yeah. It was German camp or Swiss camp, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
That was wonderful. We went to the summit from there and then descended the way you came up all down in one day.
Yeah, we went from Camp 3 all the way down.
All the way down,
too. Yeah. Going down's fun.
Through the scree. Like you just jump.
You have the big boots though? Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, everyone needs time out in the mountains.
Why not?
Why not? What else have you done in the last 12 months?
I did that. Then the carnival was cool.
In Rio? First time?
First time at carnival.
Yeah. I still haven't done that yet. Yeah.
Tired at carnival. Climbing that.
The Brazilians party at a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, we got done with Aconcagua early. We had flights back, me and my buddy James. Instead, we're like, we got time. And now you could still go without a visa.
Oh, wow.
Brazil. They just changed it in April this year. So we changed our flights to go through Rio. Go to Rio, get a ticket to be right there at the front. Met the mayor, like all these people. These guys have like Olympian tattoos on there. They were the nicest people because you're in these groups that party.
Mm-hmm.
Then all the drinks are
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed out till 3. He had to catch a flight. I then had to go back, and I was like, all right, I'm going out the next night, but staying up through the whole night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet. Rio's hit and miss though, because it can be like super fun and then super dangerous. Like you
take everything off that shines.
Yeah. No watches, no necklaces, no jewelry, no Target.
That's right.
Yeah.
I even backed up all my photos. I have my phone. I want to take pictures, but I'm like, you know what? I might lose this. So at least I know I'm back from them.
There you go.
I'll go to the beach and put something.
Yeah. Did you go to Copacabana Beach?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I stayed this time.
Okay. Yeah. They have the Copacabana Beach Hotel, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, where the Rolling Stones and everything played.
Yeah. We stayed there too.
Yeah.
Is that big?
With all the security guards.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Like it's and how is Suitcase of Courage? Where do you see it going in the next couple of years?
Good. I think we're on the right track. We're growing every year. Got a couple new clients this year. Another company in Pueblo, Colorado, one in Texas. I fly out tomorrow up to Santa Clara, California. A new company. We're meeting in Castroville and Hollister.
Where are these fucking car companies? Are they buying your program?
Every manufacturing company could use, and we're cheap consultant.
Yeah,
we're so.
Start tweeting at Elon or Xing at Elon or whatever it's going on. You should be. I should be in all the.
Because if not, they're going to pay that much for their medical, and someone's hurt. Much rather pay us.
Yeah,
someone's hurt.
Yeah, you're right. Like every single big manufacturing company,
every company.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
What about like Facebooks and Googles and all these engineers sitting at their desk coding 24/7?
Yeah, we got to get away from coding 24/7. We did do like an app on the computer called 5 on 55, where you get 5 exercises every 55th minute that you can prescribe and have a goal. But it was just, man, I am not a developer. And the amount of things that change in software and all the licensing, where do you hold your data, all this, that's whole department. That's just not our thing.
Yeah,
I'm more like in person. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So many.
You're not really into data security and apps.
Yeah, we are. We have Amazon Web Services, and we have to fill out all this stuff where it's housed. But that does not light my fire, right? To like do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather go in, meet the person, than talk to them.
Yeah, face to face is the way to go.
Like exercise, you kind of got to do it. I can make a cool video.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
I think I think this is something that was really lost during COVID. It's like meeting people face to face is really important, because there's like, so first of all, like when I set up this podcast, I only wanted to do face to face chats, right? And I had a guy come on. He was like, I don't know, my 15th guest or something like that, and he was like, "That's the first time I've gone 2 hours without looking at my phone."
Yeah,
he goes, "That was amazing." Changes, blew his mind, and But it's amazing, because like when you're with people, like again, you get the endorphins, you get the excitement, you get to actually like make a real connection with someone versus just having like a 30-minute Zoom chat and then just praying to God it's over.
Yeah. And with their cameras turned off.
Always.
Isn't that called like a telephone call?
It is called a telephone call, but you can have many people on it. No, Zoom is the bane of my existence, I think. It's amazing though how many people write me asking to be on the podcast and they only want to do a Zoom. And then I say, no, it's face to face. And then they get upset because it's like, they tell me it's like the 21st century and I need to embrace technology. And it's like, no, it's okay. I know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, it's yours.
It's mine.
Not yours, not theirs.
Exactly. So what do you have travel-wise in the next 12 months? Are you still doing, like, you did a triathlon yesterday?
I did a triathlon yesterday. So I did this year, we did Aconcagua, that was in January. And then Carnival, I'm trying to think it was the end of January or February, whenever Carnival is. So those two came together. Boston Marathon, I raced for the 10th year in a row in April. I wanted to do that 10 years, so I qualified and ran it 10 years.
Were you there for just after the explosion?
For that, it was a group of us, like, we're going to do this every year. So that started for like 2 years, but I was like 10 years in a row, and that's considered a streak. And you had to run it 3 hours.
Wow.
Which is a hard time. I do it 10 years in a row. Check.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. That meant a lot. And then after that, one of my best friends passed away way too young, so we do a memorial triathlon for him in South London, like close to where I went to grad school. So I always fly over, since I'm in Boston, to see his family. And then after that, I always take 3 or 4 days to go somewhere I've never been. I went to Vienna and saw the State Opera.
Oh, that something.
That was something. I really wanted to see that. And then we took a boat up the Danube to Bratislava, and then flew out of Budapest direct back to LA.
Wow.
So that was April.
All of this while running your own business? Just to interrupt you, sorry. Like, how important is it to your mental health and to all the successes that you've had to just stay curious?
It's everything. So that week I just described to you was a Boston Marathon, 2 site visits, go into a triathlon on a Saturday, fly over there, and then I'm only really missing, because I did site visits, 2 or 3 days of work. So I made the weekend count.
Yeah. And you did a memorial triathlon.
Need to be done for the 3rd year in a row.
Yeah. Also, and then visited a few European towns that you hadn't been to.
Few countries, exactly. But I planned it out, It's just what you do.
No, but people don't. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's so interesting to chat with you and get to see this energy that you have about traveling and exploring places. And most people just don't have that light bulb go off in their brain of like, oh, I need to, like Budapest, I just need to see that. Like Vienna, like I can't die without going to seeing the symphony in Vienna. Like, I just need to do that.
It feels wasted if you don't do it. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like what do people do? They fucking buy a house, they double mortgage it, and then they buy shit that they don't need, and then they live as debt slaves forever, and then they don't have any money or inclination to break out.
Yeah, and that's not me. And the older I get, and that's not you. So,
No.
yeah, our 20-year reunion's coming up in high school. And one of the guys is like, oh, I'm depressed. I'm 36. And I'm like, I got better abs than I'm 18.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like talking about his life and how he's depressed. I was like, dude, do something different. Like, it's almost like they closed the loop, like you're finished. I see 36 as like, you got a whole nother half of life.
Yeah.
You're not dead, but you're acting like.
Do you have wife and kids?
I don't.
Yeah, that can be part of it.
Part of it.
Not that having a family is tough, but I have a lot of friends that got married and had kids, and their lives are totally different, right? Like, all of a sudden, that money to go to London and to Budapest and to Vienna is now private school fees or soccer fees or basketball fees, or like everything just gets stretched a little more.
Yeah.
And it's just enough to make you not want to try.
Right. And it's something there. It's like we all got choices to make. I'm not saying that that's not coming for me in the future,
Mm-hmm.
but I have friends that have families. But I think if you want to travel or you have a family, it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Just make sure you know what you want to do.
And your partner has to buy in.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem, actually, is because, like, a lot of people get married. Like, this is a societal issue. I'm going to go big here.
Yeah, go.
People get married way too young before they even know who they are.
You know, I grew up in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Cruise in high school for a senior trip was a honeymoon for two people at 17.
Yeah, married at 17. Crazy.
High school trip. Yeah. They get in too early, and then, like you said, they accrue the debt, and then they're pinned out.
And the problem that I've found, and I've been divorced once, and been through many interesting relationships, but one of the things is, like, you come in with someone at the same level, like we're both 17.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no way you're both going to be at the same level at 30. Like, growing together and having the same ambitions and goals, I think, is the single biggest problem with getting married these days. And for, especially if you want to travel, because you can be like, okay, we're 21, the world is ours, let's go explore the world. And then you do that for a while, and then, you have a couple kids, life gets hard, then it's debts and all this kind of stuff. And then it's like, but I still want to travel the world. And it's like, but we can't. We have all these things. And then all of a sudden, like, everything just kind of starts to separate. And that's where I think things start to, like, break at the fray.
Yeah. And then the older, like, now I came from a place where my first job, I started making more than my parents ever made.
Yeah.
First job. And now I built a business, and I don't have the debt. I've worked really hard and saved and been responsible. So, like, man, you got to be defensible. Like, you got space now, because I can buy a plane ticket anywhere, anytime, as long as the company's doing well. That's a lot to manage too.
Yeah.
So you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So you can't just go start dating the girl at the coffee shop.
No.
You can, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's a trick. Like, because if you have this entrepreneurial life and you're traveling the world, if you date someone who has a 9-to-5, that person might be the love of your life, but you're still tying yourself down to where that person is.
Right. Or they say, for you've worked 11 years and you put 7 years really hard in, where you're like, I gave up my life for just moving around, right, for the business. But they don't understand that, and they see where you are now. Like, can't you just buy me a plane ticket? Like, I've done that before. But then the expectation is, I've bought you a plane ticket to XXX, or this place. Oh, we're going to keep going here. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Can't keep going back to the same place.
Yeah, or just, what's the expectation? It's a slippery slope. It's like, take the first date out to, like, McDonald's or something, then go to Olive Garden, then go to a nicer restaurant. You just can't start out here.
No. No. I love a good Big Mac from time to time.
It's ground, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. So, I mean, anything else you want to chat about? I mean, we crushed it. I mean, we're almost 2 hours in. We learned about your almost football career.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial, triathlons, suitcase of courage, travels. What else is in there?
I think upcoming this year, I'm going to Antarctica.
Fuck. Are you serious? When?
Yeah. December 3rd. Go and climb Mount Vincent, highest one down there, and ski the Sentinel range.
Are you going to do is your goal to do the 7 highest mountains on 7 continents?
I just Antarctica. I'm like not been to Antarctica, so I need to go to Antarctica and see what goes on. I heard there's some Transformers down there.
That's sweet.
See what's going on.
Yeah. I'm doing Transformers. I'm in December, I'm going to walk across Death Valley. Yeah.
You should go Death Valley to top Mount Whitney.
I'm going to do the John Muir next year, and I'm going to take in Mount Whitney hopefully then as well. But I've got a list of, like, now that I'm in the United States for the first time ever, because I've been everywhere else, like it's nice because I've got like a list of all the things I want to do. So I want to climb like the top 10 highest peaks in the top 10 highest states, like in the U.S. So Whitney's obviously number 1. Number 10 is Mount Humphreys in Arizona, and then you've got all the rest in between. So yeah. So I'm going to be working on chipping away on that list over the next little bit, and really kind of taking, because I've been to L.A. many times, and I've been to New York many times, and I've missed the whole rest of the country.
Again.
Well, I just did a big driving trip. I was gone for like almost 3 weeks. I went from here up to Monterey, and then I went out to Lake Tahoe, Big Sky, Jackson, and then I came back. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, just the open road. There's nothing better than road tripping. Like, but it sucks though once you hit Vegas, because then from Vegas back to Southern California, it's garbage. So I think next year I'm just gonna fucking fly to Vegas, rent a car, do 3 weeks, and then go back to Vegas and then fly into it, because from Vegas into LA is miserable.
Yeah. 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours. Yeah. Yes. But fuck, Antarctica is no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. You going with a crew? You got some guys?
Yeah. -40, it looks like.
Yeah.
But it's the same, like, I mean, it's like Denali gets it, Pakistan. We were climbing Aconcagua,
-40 for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be smart.
We woke up at midnight, like I'm sure you did, but you came from the other side. So we woke up at midnight, Camp 3, and then, we had a quick breakfast, and then we just walked up.
Same camp, because we connected with you from there. We just came from the other side to get to that camp.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful mountain.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to do Mount Elbrus?
I would love to. Climbing's not ideal to get over there right now. I've done Mont Blanc. Any mountain. I really want to do Mount
Ararat in eastern Turkey. Yeah, down below somewhere on the side.
Down. Yeah. No, that's it. That's kind of like the weird. I like the weird list. Like if it's something different.
Ararat's good because you can ski back down.
Yeah.
But Mount Elbrus is amazing. So like obviously Russia. Yeah. So like Russia's invaded Ukraine, and it's bad to enjoy time in Russia. But I loved Russia back in the day, like St. Petersburg, Moscow, and then I climbed Mount Elbrus, and we had these amazing guys. They were the best in the world, and Alex and his team. But Elbrus is really quite special because there's 2 routes you can do. You can kind of go up the tourist route.
Yeah.
And then they've got, because it's a ski resort, right? Like on one, so you can go up through the ski resort. But Alex took us back down, and we came in from the east.
Yeah.
Through the forests, and then up to acclimatize a little longer. But then we went across the glacier with all the crevasses.
Okay.
And then we went up the side where there was no one, and it was spectacular. Elbrus is really, really quite stunning. And Killy's amazing. Have you done Killy?
I've done Killy, yeah. With the ex-girl.
Yeah. Yeah, just delete those photos.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, look, thank you so much for coming by. Like, swing by anytime you got anything interesting. Like, I would, if you come back in January, we just talk about Antarctica. That'd be incredible.
Yeah. Do it, man.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So, hey, look, we go up here to this, and we can show everyone that we're in the same room. Great to meet you.
Great meeting you too, man.
I know you had a long day, but thanks for making it.
Wow. Thought about some fun adventures. Learned about you.
We got to do some more.
Yeah.
I'll send you some links.
All right. Sounds good.
Cheers.